Just like in basketball, Tractor Supply knows that a winning season takes practice, teamwork, and a can-do attitude. It's Bracket Challenge season. And the Fox Sports Radio Bracket Challenge is live. So be sure to complete your bracket at foxsportsradio.com and do it right now. The winning bracket in the Fox Sports Radio Bracket Challenge will win a $2,500 gift card to our friends at Tractor Supply, and a perfect bracket will win you $1 million. That's right, $1 million for a perfect bracket. So fill out your bracket now until Thursday morning. This Thursday morning before the games begin. Visit foxsportsradio.com to register, to get rules, and to fill out your bracket. It's all sponsored by Tractor Supply for life out here. LaVar, you're probably going to be happy with this.
Talk to me.
Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network.
Come on.
Reporting that the Minnesota Vikings have rejected multiple trade calls on J.J. McCarthy, telling other teams they're moving forward with him as their quarterback. Sources say the team plans to add a veteran, but they're not pursuing Aaron Rodgers at this time. McCarthy now enters the season as QB1. Pelissero goes on to say the Vikings continue to explore multiple options for a veteran quarterback addition, whether through free agency or a trade. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers' options are now focused on the Steelers and the Giants.
I don't know. Can I say I do like being right. I do like to be right. And in this moment, I think I was right. Minnesota was not. If you were going to do what everything was being reported, then you just keep Sam Darnold. You don't move on from a guy that gave you the season that he did to take a chance on Aaron Rodgers. I just don't think that you do that, especially if you're going to go with your draft pick coming off of his injury. So I don't know. I mean, to me, I think it was taking too long if you're saying both sides wanted this to happen. And it just seemed a little strange to me that it was taking so long. It made me give pause and say, I don't think it's Aaron Rodgers. I think it's Minnesota. I think Minnesota had to decide, do they want to do this or do they not want to do it? It sounds like they don't want to do it.
I think it's interesting how this is worded. And I believe, especially when you're sending out a tweet and it's not us talking on radio where, I mean, look, we're jackasses. We don't always get it right? We say things sometimes we don't mean to say or slip, whatever. But in this case, you have the opportunity to type that out. Make sure this is how you want to portray this, especially considering how big of news it is in the NFL. So I'm going to read it again. The Vikings have rejected multiple trade calls on J.J. McCarthy, telling other teams they're moving forward with him as their quarterback, sources say. The team plans to add a veteran, but they're not pursuing Aaron Rodgers at this time. So what would change to make them pursue Aaron Rodgers at a later time?
Maybe the price
why
tag.
wouldn't you just say, we're not pursuing Aaron Rodgers? Or the final sentence reads, McCarthy now enters the offseason as QB1. Why wouldn't they just say, McCarthy's our quarterback? We're not looking at Aaron Rodgers anymore. It would literally be that simple. But for some reason, and look, and this isn't like a shot at Tom Pelissero, because this is Schefter, this is Ian Rappaport, this is Pelissero, this is everyone. These guys now essentially copy and paste what an agent or a source or someone kind of says. And they can refute that. You can try to come at me with all that. Doug Gottlieb would probably put this on his show or all that. We've seen countless examples of mistakes that have been made where guys have literally copied and pasted and left some stuff in there. So what I'm pointing out is someone wanted to portray this message of we're not pursuing Aaron Rodgers at this time. For what reason? I have no idea. Like, if you're going to commit to McCarthy, commit to him. What is it at this time? Is there a concern maybe come off his injury, how he's recovering? Is that why? Is there a concern that maybe what Aaron's asking for or where this whole thing is at is too much for them? They don't want to do it. I don't know. And that struck me as odd based on how this is worded. And look, maybe I'm reading way too much into this. But again, when you have the opportunity to tweet something out that you know is going to make its round, that is going to make news, I think you're pretty careful about how you word things. I think you word them a certain way for a reason.
Especially when you point out Look, we are going to add a veteran quarterback. It's just not going to be him. But JJ's our guy.
I think they made that clear.
That's our start.
Well, they're going to add a veteran quarterback, but maybe it is Rodgers, just not at this time.
Maybe. But I don't think that that's what it is. I think they made their decision on J.J. McCarthy when they allowed Sam Darnold to leave.
For sure.
That's when the decision was made. Now, where you go from there, it's like, okay, does this make sense? Bringing in Aaron Rodgers, does it make sense? At what number, at what figure, and are we bringing him in as a backup? Is he fighting for the starting job? Or what does this do to our draft pick if we go from Sam Darnold, who just had the season he had, to now bringing in Aaron Rodgers to be a starter for, a year or two? What does that look like? I just think that if you were going to go with a veteran that was going to start for your team, you hold on to Sam Darnold. And that could be for 1 to 2 years, just like if you were going to move on to Aaron Rodgers. It's 1 to 2 years. You're coming off of a strong year with Sam Darnold. Sure, it ended, not the way they would have liked it for it to end, but there's no reason to go away from that type of success that you had. And Q, you made some good points about it the other day. Maybe they looked at it and they were like, character traits, or did he hit his ceiling? Did we stole one with him, and we were able to get some value out of getting rid of him after 1 year using them. Maybe that was the thought process, but I think that is very, very, that creates a very topsy-turvy, a very, kind of turbulent type of environment if that you're going to go from Sam Darnold to Aaron Rodgers as your starting quarterback, which, by the way, Sam Darnold wasn't supposed to be the starter. It was an open competition until the injury took place, but he played well as a starter. And, again, if you're going to wait to play J.J. McCarthy, why would you allow Sam Darnold to walk? He was clearly valued. He landed with a team. Why would you just allow him to walk? And then, oh, by the way, now we've created a situation where we need a quarterback. And so now we're going to go get the highest profile quarterback that's on the free agency market. I just don't feel like that made a ton of sense.
Or Daniel Jones.
And you let Daniel Jones walk. Good point. Good point.
I don't know why.
Why do you not hold on to Daniel Jones?
Because Daniel Jones wants an opportunity to play. And I think he went to a spot on a 1-year deal that's going to give him the opportunity to play, or at least a better opportunity to compete. Even if he's not the first quarterback in, they give Anthony Richardson the opportunity to start the season in Indianapolis. At the first sign of, hey, I need a break and come off the field, injury, what have you, it could be Daniel Jones' team and he can run with it.
So you don't think that exists in Minnesota? He doesn't have just as good an opportunity to get in there if it's him and J.J. McCarthy going after it?
Not to resurrect his career, no. Because if it's him and J.J. McCarthy going after it, like he might start this year, but J.J. McCarthy's a top 10 pick. With Richardson, you're in year 3. Like, they've already been through it where they've benched him for things and everything else. I think there's a better chance if Daniel Jones goes in, plays well, they would then sign him to an extension and then not commit to Anthony Richardson on his 5th year of his rookie deal, because he'd be going into year 4. You have to make that decision after year 3.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, it wouldn't be as punitive to him. So I think it's two different situations. But in regards to Rodgers, I wonder if the Vikings got tired of waiting. Like, there was an element of, again, this whole at this time is like, yeah, maybe he wanted to draw it out more. Maybe he needs more time. Maybe there's some teams saying like, look, man, it's March 19th today, 18th. We've got to figure out our process for preparing for the offseason, like how we're going to handle the draft, how we're going to handle the rest of free agency. We're not going to keep waiting around for you to make this decision. And we're not going to get in a bidding war with the New York Giants or Pittsburgh Steelers or anyone else. So this is where we're at. Like, we heard Cam Hayward earlier. Maybe the Vikings had a similar sentiment to all this and how they feel.
Yeah. Well, hey, it could be good news for the Steelers. Might get their guy after all. By the way,
it is a little upsetting too. I know you got to get to the read, but we're not going to get like the Crocs and watch photo, to follow exactly in the footsteps, which is a little upsetting.
I know that G-Shock that Lee pointed out yesterday. Still knowing the name of the watch that was in the photo. as if he was really looking at the watch. It is.
Lee told me it was his background of his phone for a while.
By the way, if that really was indeed true, I mean, are we asking to have him removed from the show like that day, or do we wait a day? Like if that really is the truth, you know?
Show removals, huh?
Yeah,
that came up today.
Interesting. Lee, is that true that you had Brett Favre's picture as the background on your phone? The infamous G-Shock picture?
No, that is not true.
Is it true that you have boxer shorts with Brett Favre's face on your boxers?
No, that is
part
not true. But I wonder if those exist.
Is it true you wear them inside out just to feel like...
Oh,
wow.
What?
Oh, wow.
What?
Oh, wow.
Happy birthday.
Oh, wow.
Lee?
No, I would not. No.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Someone told me you'd do that.
Dang.
Well, I do
Or
know
maybe
this.
backwards so you could eat your... No.
Oh, wow.
I like jelly.